Right then, welcome everyone. This is a Nightlife event marketing tutorial series. If you're watching this, then you probably know me, Mr. Trippy. I'm just going to try and give an insight into all the things I've learned while holding all the Trippy Visions events over the last 18 months. And hopefully, if you're new to promoting or you've had some trouble with advertising, this should be almost the Bible to you. So I'm going to try and do it pretty quickly. I've got 24 slides to get through, and it's currently quarter to 4, and I'm launching the 3 events at 5 today. Let me just close WhatsApp because that is annoying. So launching the events at 5. So I'm going to try and blast through this as quickly as possible. So in this little series, it's going to be about marketing nightlife events in particular, how to market events on Facebook, which ticket platform to use, how to use and analyse your customer data in your campaigns, a few automation tools, and then talking about advanced ticket funds, getting kickbacks, and loads more. So there's a lot to cover. So I'll just give you a brief introduction if you don't already know. Trippy Visions is, or we hope it is, an immersive event brand. We create unique stages, and the USP is that attendees get a free pair of diffraction glasses, hence Trippy Visions. It's electronic music, and it started back in March 2017 at Antwerp Mansion. Since then, we've done 15 events, 8 venues: Antwerp Mansion, Hidden, Gorilla and Manchester Academy in Manchester. We've done Church in Leeds, Lab 11 and Amusement 13 in Birmingham, and Underground and Invisible Wind Factory in Liverpool. So the 4 cities: Manchester, Leeds, Liverpool and Birmingham. In that time, we've sold over 10,000 tickets and generated over £110,000 in ticket revenue. So the main keys to success are the visual content and mass market appeal. Because we don't book artists, and because the stages are pretty unique, it makes advertising pretty simple. As well, we've been doing strategic Facebook advertising campaigns since the start, so kind of hopped on it pretty early before everyone else was doing it, nearly 2 years ago now. We've got a reasonable ticket price point, so it's about £8 to £10 on average, which is, considering you get a big stage, good music, and you get a free pair of glasses, it's not a bad price point. We have quite a few loyal customers who like what we're doing, so we get a lot of repeat customers. There's a sense of excitement because we create new stages for each tour, trying to raise the bar each time, so people are expecting something good each time. We understand our target audience, whether that be through their music tastes, what they consume on a night out. We kind of get who they are, and we also understand the advantages of ticket platforms, the different ticket platforms, and exposure. So first up, when you're creating an event, you want to choose the right ticket platform. The main ones for Nightlife are Skiddle, Fatsoma, and Resident Advisor. A few people have started using Eventbrite, and Fixer's fairly new on the scene. I'm going to break these down in the next few slides, but other ticket platforms for live music, I'm not really going to go over these much because not a lot of people I know are into the live music scene. But these are, if you are, then these are the ticket platforms you need to consider and analyse them yourself, see which one is the best fit, and go from there. So first up, the one that I use, Skiddle. I use mostly. The pros, it's top of Google. The reason Skiddle is so big is because they've been going for 15 years and they've been working on their SEO, which means that when you type in Nights Out in Manchester, if you type in Freshers Week events, if you type in New Year's Eve events, Skiddle will be there, and you get a lot of organic traffic that way. So it's great for event discovery. I think in terms of nightlife, it's outside of London, I believe it's probably the most popular platform in each of the main cities in the UK. They've got some pretty good built-in analytics for you to analyse your previous data. You can embed YouTube videos and images into the description to give your listing more of a visual advantage. There's campaign tracking, meaning you can track where your sales are coming from, so you can add little parameters at the end of links from, say, your Facebook event, from an Instagram campaign, and then you can track which campaigns are converting the most. You can tag artists, and then people that have got artist alerts turned on, they will get notified. And you can also create event groups where people can see events from you as a promoter. Cons to Skiddle. It's not the most modern and easy to use platform. They haven't really updated it for a while. There's no real social functionality. You get limited customer data since GDPR, so you only get customer data of people who tick to opt in when they buy a ticket. Skiddle owns the rest of your data, which means they can use it in campaigns for marketing, like their own internal marketing, so they can use it for, say, your competitors' e-flyers if they want. And then they've got a new rep network, but I believe it needs a bit of improvement. It's not the best. And that's pretty much Skiddle. Fatsoma pros: you keep your own data. They've got follow functionality, so you actually have your own brand page, meaning people can follow you, people can request a rep for you pretty easily. You can announce new events to all followers through a push notification. So if someone follows you and you announce a new event, they'll get a push notification to their Fatsoma app on their phone. So it's pretty much an easy and free announcement tool. It's got a pretty good rep network and incentivized sharing. So people are given the option to share an event once they buy a ticket, and then if someone buys a ticket, they get a commission. I think Warehouse Project have started using it as a rep network, so it tells you how good it is. You can import previous data into Fatsoma, and they will be asked whether they want to become a follower. So if you've got previous customer data from other ticket platforms which you have permission to use, you can import that, and then those people will become your Fatsoma followers. It has Facebook pixel integration for retargeting, which means you can put your pixel code in, and customers who either visit your event page or purchase a ticket, you can then re-advertise on them by creating a custom audience on Facebook Ads Manager. It's also got Google Analytics built in, which means you can track the demographics, where your traffic's coming from and all that sort of stuff. You can co-promote with other Fatsoma pages, so if there's any popular event pages in, say, the city you're doing an event, you can offer to co-promote, and then they'll also earn a commission off the tickets. Cons for Fatsoma: they've got very limited SEO, so they're not really going to appear that well. It works well for established brands, so if you've already got a big following and you're adding stuff following with every series of events you do, then it's going to work really well. And it depends what city you're in. Some people will automatically go to Skiddle when they're going on a night out, so I wouldn't say it's the go-to for Nightlife, as it has other sorts of events on there as well, but it's still a very good platform to consider using. Next up, I'm just going to touch on these briefly. One, because I've used some of them briefly, but there's not really much to talk about. They're all ticket platforms in a way. So Resident Advisor, it's for the music lovers. If you're booking an artist, then you're going to want to put the event on Resident Advisor, because the artists have a page, and then anyone that's, say, a fan of that artist will also see. You can get your own promoter page for Resident Advisor as well. But once again, limited SEO, say for keywords like nights out in Manchester, but it is very big in London, so if you're a London promoter, definitely get it on Resident Advisor. Eventbrite, I've seen a few promoters starting to use this recently, where you can buy straight through the Facebook event, which is a bonus, so you don't even have to leave Facebook. You also get a customizable brand page, and they're quite high in terms of people searching for events, not particularly Nightlife, but events in general. Yeah, cons: it's not specialised to Nightlife. And then the final one to consider is Fixer, which is fairly new. It's very modern, it's easy to use, and it's pretty student focused. It's got a lot of the same functionality as Fatsoma. It's easy to build a rep network, and you get a page and people can follow you. But the cons is, it's still early, there's limited users, and once again, not much SEO. Next up, Okay, so next up, using multiple ticket platforms. There's no harm in this. I know there's people that like to keep all their events on one ticket platform, but you have to consider that each ticket platform has its own exposure. There's no harm in putting your event on multiple ticket platforms. If it's a case of it takes you 5 minutes to put the event on another platform and you sell 5 tickets, 10 tickets, that's 5 tickets you wouldn't have sold otherwise. So definitely consider it. I'd say use a combination of 2 or 3 to get the best results. For Trippy Visions, I use Skiddle as the main one, and then I use Fatsoma as well, because I know that each one has its own benefits, and I try to rank highly for each one on the night of the event. If you're booking an artist, then use Skiddle and Resident Advisor, and potentially use Fatsoma as well. And if it's a case of you using, loads of platforms and you're having trouble, say with your ticket scanners, having to use, 3 different apps, you can always consider using an app called Qflow, which lets you add all of your barcodes into one app, and then you can scan them that way. Next up, geographic considerations. So different platforms have better or worse exposure depending on the city. I'd say northern cities, probably Birmingham as well, they tend to be dominated by Skiddle. London, if you look at London, it's flooded with Resident Advisor because there's a lot of bookings going on in London. You have to consider what the general population and student population of the city is. Say Manchester, it's a huge student population, and you have to understand where those students are actually populated. Music taste, another thing to consider, have a look, do a bit of research, events on the weekend, which events are top. So Manchester has a good variety. Birmingham, there's a lot of drum and bass line, grime. Leeds and Bristol, I think it's fairly electronic. You also have to consider the transport routes within the city. So if people are, say your target audience is students, some of them are on a budget, they'd rather go to a venue where they can walk for free, or get a bus if they've got a bus pass for free, rather than having to spend, say, £4 or £5 each way on a taxi. So that's why venues such as, Antwerp works really well, because all the students in Fallowfield or Shome could just walk straight to the venue. It's the reason why Church does well in Leeds, is because it's so close to all the university buildings. And it's the reason why, say, venues in Manchester such as Hidden, some people are put off by the taxi journey. Another thing to consider is the footfall and walk-ups. So if it's if it's a city centre location close to some bars, then you're going to get a few walk-ups, people that, just walking past intrigued. But if it's, out on the outskirts of the city, it's all going to be pre-booked tickets, and you're going to have to anticipate no walk-ups, I'd say. Very limited walk-ups. Oh, another thing to consider about that actually is when you put your tickets on sale, make sure you leave them on sale until about midnight, 12:30, or right up until your last entry, because you will sell tickets. People in the queue will buy tickets online, and sometimes they're put off if they can't buy a ticket. They're not sure if there's tickets on the door, so just consider that. Choosing the right date. So I've made a few mistakes in this subject in the past. So you have to think, if your market includes students, make sure it's during term time, away from exams, potentially around student loan time. That's when they have the most money. Consider, is there competition on the night, similar music? If you're running a techno night and there's already 5 techno nights on, then it's going to be difficult, because there's only so many people that will go to a techno event on that day. Busiest periods, you have to consider students. It's normally between September and December, start of uni, less deadlines, Freshers Week. As soon as you get to January, February, March, people have got a lot more work to do. People are pretty skint, and then towards the summer, it's more festivals. There's not many students in the cities, so it's a different ball game. Probably the busiest dates throughout the year are you have Freshers Week, Halloween, New Year's Eve, and end of exams in January and June. End of terms are all also worth considering. And then you have to consider, what day of the week are you going to do your event on? So weekdays, it's going to be mostly students who say might have a day off. And then at the weekend it will be students, locals, and then potentially some tourists as well. So to choose the right day of the week, you have to consider Monday. Very risky. People are still tired from the weekend, and you know, if it's their first day back at work or their first day back at uni, they'll probably say to themselves, well, I'm just going to have a few days off, quite weak. Tuesday, fairly popular with students. It's still early in the week and people have recovered from the weekend. Most people have Wednesdays off for sport as well, so if you've got Wednesday off, you might consider going out Tuesday night. Wednesday is also popular with students. It's the sports social night for, I think, unis all across the country. So you get a lot of people, you know, go to their, say, their football, rugby match, and then come back, have a few drinks, and decide to go out. Thursday is fairly close to the weekend, so people might be saving themselves for Friday or Saturday, so that's also a bit risky. Friday, this is where you'll probably get the 9-5ers going out on workouting, so they'll go straight from work to, say, the pub or a bar, and then decide to go out afterwards, so pretty spontaneous. And Saturday, I'd say Saturday is the big one. This is one that people will have planned for a while. They'll tend to, you know, pre-drink early on. They'll make a big day of it, and then they'll go big on the night. And then Sunday, I'd say, is a no-go. People have got work or uni in the morning, so not worth it. Choosing the right venue. Best thing to do is look at, you know, the reputation, look at the previous events, similar genres, see how popular the events are. Otherwise, you might end up with a pretty dead venue and might find it very difficult to sell the event. Location and willingness to travel, we covered that earlier, so make sure it's in a good location. Otherwise, you're going to need either a good booking or some real incentive for people to travel. Try and get fair venue, high price. It's average about, you know, £1 per head in the events industry. So if you can achieve that, that's pretty good. So 300 capacity venue, £300 is a fair price. Start small. I say start at, you know, a 100, 150, 200 cap venue. Do a few parties and then build your brand, and then eventually you'll be able to get bookings at bigger venues. And also make sure that there's decent equipment and sound in the venue, otherwise you might find yourself having to hire stuff in at a cost. Identifying your audience. So, age of customers, 18 to 21, male, female dominated. So that will probably be biggest target market is 18 to 21, 22 maybe. So these are the people you're going to want to target. You're going to want to understand who is going to be attracted by your music genre. You know, say drum and bass, it's quite male heavy, disco female, you know, techno and house can be pretty varied. So you can use audience insights on Facebook at your page or the venue page. So I'll just show you this now. So we'll go to audience insights. And so this is just the Trippy Visions page. So I've just gone on to Ads Manager, and you go up to Audience Insights. Put in your page, just delete the US, which is normally the default location, and then you can see, you know, what sort of demographics your audience are. So I can see that, you know, it's 46% female, 54% male. You know, the main group is 18 to 24, no surprise there. Relationship status, single, in a relationship, education level, so you can see 82% university. So I'm aware that my events are targeted towards students. And you can also look at the page likers, so you can see what sort of pages people also like. So event planner, Teletech, another techno brand in Manchester, so we've got some pretty high affinity. So people also like Tech2, Cubo, White Hotel, all these relevant pages. So this might be worth analysing when you're going to create audiences for your Facebook campaigns. I'm just going back, talking about the right venue. If you're looking for venues, if you don't already know, I've created Out. So if you want to try and find a venue to hire, go to Manchester, click on, you know, bars, nightclubs, live music venues. Have a look through, get in contact with the venues and see if you can get a date. That's probably the easiest way to find suitable venues. You can also look at your previous data on Skiddle or Google Analytics. So I'm just going to show you, if you're on Skiddle and you go to the Analyze section, the main ones are location of customers, pinpoint map, and gender and age of customers. So you can see I'm going to choose all my events and show all the markers. Actually, I won't do all events. I'll do say just the recent one in Liverpool. So this will show me where the customers are, and this will help in creating audiences in the future of, you can understand how far out people are actually travelling. So these are all the people that bought a ticket. So if I go down to Liverpool, we can see the spread of people. So you get quite a few city centre, and then we've had people from Northwich, I think Northwich, and obviously a few from Manchester, a few from Chester as well. So this is where people are willing to travel for a Saturday night out. And then other people all around the country who probably live in Liverpool or live somewhere, and this is their home address. So you can see that, and then that will help you understand where people are coming from in the future. So the next thing you can do is look at where your audience live. This is mostly about micro-targeting by location. So I've done some student halls research before, and because my audience is mainly students, I wanted to find out where are the students. So what I did was, all this data is freely available online. I went to each of the universities in each of the 4 cities that we did events in, so Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds and Birmingham. Found all the locations, found the student areas, the populations of each university, and then I added that into Google Maps. So I've got these, say, Leeds student accommodation. I can see that this is the spread. So this is where I tend to create little pockets of micro targeting. Also in the university buildings during the day, that's also a good way to target when people are sitting in lectures next to their friends. You have to consider that they're going to talk when they see an advert. So that's another thing to consider. And then another thing is drug use. There's no denying it. It's one of the big factors that contributes to what sort of night people want. That's why Trippy Visions does well, because we understand that people are going out, people are doing pills, and they want an experience to enhance it. Just a few things you could look at. Say, I don't know how credible the tab is, but the most popular drugs at each university. So we understand that who's doing pills, UWE, MDMA, Sheffield, Manchester, Leeds. So people are going out, ketamine, Manchester, Bristol, Newcastle. So you can consume this knowledge and use it to benefit your advertising. You could also look at the Global Drug Survey, which is a very big survey to see what people are doing. So other than tobacco, cannabis, alcohol, MDMA is probably the most popular. So tailor an event towards people that are going out on the weekend and doing a pill, and you should succeed. The next thing to consider is methods of promotion. So digital and physical. There are different methods. So digital, Facebook advertising via event responses, photo boost, video boosts. Same with Instagram, photos, stories, videos. You can do, that's meant to say, invitations, personal invitations via DM on Instagram. So get people. Something that worked well for me was, if we're in Manchester, DM us for a surprise, and then we just gave all those people either a free or discounted ticket, and that creates good engagement. You can use follow automation with a Google Chrome plugin called Growbot, which will just automatically follow it'll follow the followers of certain accounts. So if you want to try and target your competitors or target certain venues and get follow backs, then you can do that. Snapchat advertising. This is something I'll cover closer to the event because it's more of a last minute advertising. It's good to reach people with a full screen advert for quite a cheap cost per 1,000 impressions, so it's pretty good. Email marketing. If you have a mailing list, then you consider using MailChimp or other mailing out platforms to email people when you've got an event launch or something similar. You could consider doing some PR, so reaching out to societies, student newspapers, radio stations to offer them free or discounted tickets. Online competitions, like, share, comment this post to win either tickets. Bar tabs are pretty good. Vinyls if you're doing a booking, that sort of thing. You can also consider using the IMIN app, and if you don't know what it is, it's just like an event app where you can pay £50 and you'll get your event featured. It's pretty good. People can do things like spin to win, so they can spin and get a free ticket or get a discounted ticket like that. And then you can consider physical. So flyers, I'd consider it a no-go, other than giving them to freshers in Freshers Week. Even still, they'll end up with probably 20 flyers while walking down by their university. So I'd say a no-go. It's a waste of money, and it has pretty bad conversions, in my opinion. Posters, on the other hand, might be something worth considering. So if you're giving someone, students love having a free poster to put up in their wall. So whether it's a poster of a series of events you're doing, or some nice artwork of an event you've got coming up, definitely hand out some posters. Just free poster. Some of them will put it up, and then that's free advertising for you then. Exit flyering you can consider, so either like a discount card or or the information on the next event, or direct people to your socials. Give that to people exiting the event. And then another thing you could consider is a business card with a QR code on. People scan for a discount or something like that. I haven't tried that yet, but it's something I want to try in the future, so worth noting. Next up, ticket considerations. So whether or not to absorb the booking fee. It's like a similar psychology to getting free delivery when you pay for, say, buy a t-shirt online. Would you rather pay £30 and get free delivery, or pay £25 and pay £5 delivery? So it's one thing to consider, one thing to test, whether you get better performance, better sales by absorbing the booking fee. You can also add the group ticket discounts, where you can set a minimum order to, say, 3 or 4 tickets and get people to give them a £2 discount per ticket, something like that. You could also do flash sales, so just doing a flash sale on a day, 50% off tickets, that sort of thing. And make sure you price your ticket good value for money. So if you're booking someone, then £5 to £10, fair enough. If it's a student night and it's there's not real much value, then maybe £3 for a ticket, £1 early birds to get a load of people committing. Ticket tiers, I'd say 3 to 4 tiers of tickets will probably work best. Ticket allocations, I'd do a load of early birds for your initial campaign, and then the more people that buy in early, you've got that knock-on effect. So if you sell 300 early birds, that's 300 people who will then tell maybe 1 or 2 people that they're going to an event, and they might buy the next ticket tier, and then so on. And another thing is embedding tickets on your website if you've got one. So there's instructions to do this on Fatsoma and Skiddle, and probably on RA as well. You just get a bit of code and copy and paste it on your website, and people can buy tickets straight from your website. Schedule. So the 6 to 8 weeks lead up to an event, I'd say, is probably necessary. If you get your event out first and you get some early birds, it means you'll rank higher on that day. So if you're the top event on the day, you're automatically just going to sell more tickets. Day 1, launch the event. I'd say a large event response advert works best. Posting the event and pin a post, something with visual content, images from the event before, something to get people excited, and it'll be the first thing they see when they actually go to the event. Get friends to respond and share, and then get the venue and any artist to accept the co-host straight away. That's pretty important. The first 2 weeks, continue with the event response advert. Weeks 3 to 6, I'd say, start putting a bid cap on, so then you're paying less per event response. 5 to 7, potentially release the video and a competition, and then boost those heavily. Week 6 to 8, re-advertise to those who have responded to your event, and then through those 8 weeks, I'd say posting the Facebook event once per week with something visual, either a photo or video, you know, ticket update, playlist, song, YouTube video, artist info, just something interesting that the people who are interested in the event will actually like. Budgets. I tend to opt for around 10% of the average ticket price per person. So £10 per ticket, 650 capacity for a show at Gorilla. I'd say that's about a £650 marketing budget. So I'd break that down into £400 event response advert, an average of 30 to 40p per event response, and that would result in around 800 to 1200 paid responses, and you normally get about 2 times as many organic back off that as well. So you probably get, you know, 2.4 to 3k total event responses. I'd save £200 for a competition video boost, and it's about £4 to reach 1,000 people. So you might get between, you know, 20, 30, 50,000 reach, depending on whether people engage as well. And then maybe £50 for a last minute Snapchat advert. So it's about £2 to reach 1,000 people. So you probably reach about 20,000 people on the day. And that would be fresh in their mind then. Organic traffic is pretty dead. You're not going to get much organic reach anymore. So you either pay and reach people, or you don't, and you will fail. Creating visual content plus artwork, it's definitely worth considering getting a photographer and or videographer to create content. You get someone that does both, then great. New photographers and videographers might be willing to work for free or cheap just to build their portfolio, so try and find someone who's eager. It gives you enough content to advertise your next events. You can choose whether to create artwork or use photos. I'd say starting off artwork, and then every event use a good photo with maybe a bit, you know, maybe a logo on or a bit of information. Your first event will require artwork, so try and find a decent graphic designer or someone obviously eager who is creative to build a portfolio. The artwork will need to stand out, it needs to be unique, and there needs to be less than 20% text for you to achieve a good boost on it. And optionally have an animation/video promo as the cover. Up to you, depends whether people's attention spans are longer than 3 seconds. So next up, creating a rep network. This is pretty useful. It might take a bit of time managing reps, but these people will, if you build a solid team, then these people will sell you tickets every event in the future. So you can create incentives to sign up reps, give them, you know, free tickets, free drinks, you know, chance to work at an exciting event brand. Probably best to target those who've attended a previous event. It'll probably be hard to build a rep network without doing an event. You can set up rep links via Skiddle and Fatso. It's pretty simple. You could create prizes for the top rep, such as, you know, cash prize or a bottle of alcohol or something, some sort of good incentive. You should probably create a Facebook group to keep them updated, and then get them to sign up via Facebook inbox or sign up form on your website if you have one. So a few other things to consider in the event game. The weather will have a big impact on your event. I've had 20 to 50% drop off in attendance in really bad weather when it's raining heavily. Some venue hire contracts will require you to have public liability cover, probably 5 million to 10 million cover, just in case anyone dies at your event. You can get this through Hiscox. They do pretty good cover. Naivety and realism. You're probably likely to achieve 50 to 70% capacity. Sellouts are pretty rare unless it's, you know, Freshers Week or a good day or there's no competition. And so just budget all your costs and break evens for 50 to 70%. Your first event will be pretty difficult as you don't have any data. You're going to have to do a lot of work, a lot of old school promoting, networking as well, and it will be make or break. You have to consider people's social media attention spans, so say a 3-second average video watch time. So it makes it quite difficult when advertising to get people to engage with your content. and always consider the extra costs. So VAT on any say higher fees, riders for DJs. You got to consider transport, equipment. If you're booking someone, they might require some extra equipment, and then you also have to pay ticket scanning staff as well. Securing an exclusivity deal with Skiddle or Fatsoma is also an option. You probably give the platform around 8% allocation of your tickets, and then you'll be able to receive ticket funds in advance, and you can get between a 30-45% kickback from the booking fee, so it's extra revenue per event. Another thing, creating a website, it's not necessary if you're just starting out, but as you grow you may want to consider it, as you can use it as a hub for your events. Gallery, so I created one for Trippy Visions, which is pretty straightforward. It's just got a nice little slider that cycles through some of our best photos, the upcoming events with just a ticket link, a few videos, and then just a mailing list, gallery page, contact page, and rep sign up page. So it's all mobile optimized as well. So this is where we get quite a few click-throughs from Instagram. So something worth considering. Maybe make a WordPress website if you think that will benefit you. So slide 23, nearly finished. Other things to running adverts on Facebook. So you want to separate your audiences up into different tiers, with earlier tiers that are more likely to respond to convert to ticket sales. You're going to want to request advertiser access to the venue page, so you can actually target people that have been to that venue before. So I normally do, tier 1 is run an advert, normally an event response advert from the brand page, and this will be to customer data of attendees of the most recent event and people who responded going to the most recent event. So it's the people who are most likely to be interested in the next event. Obviously there'll be some that didn't enjoy the event and won't click, but there'll be others that will want to come to your next event and will be you'll probably get a lot better cost per event response from these people. Next up is like the second tier, so we'll also run this from the Trippy Visions page. So it will be the people who were interested in the most recent event, or have been to previous events, or responded to previous events on Facebook. And then the third one is run from venue page, so it would be an event response from the venue page, and that would be targeted towards, say, people who have pressed going on other techno events at the venue, or interested or going, and that'll give you some good results as well. Other things to consider are people who like your page and people who've engaged with your page in the last 90 days. And you should get some pretty good engagement if you use those audiences. And then if you're booking an artist, make sure you request and get advertiser access to the artist's Facebook page. That means you can create relevant audiences, such as people who like the artist page located in the city of your event, and people who responded to any previous events the artist has held in your city. So that's pretty much it. There's a lot of information there, a lot to consume. I'll put the slideshow up as a download on my website as well. But this will be like the end of part 1. Part 2, which I will be recording in 30 minutes, will be me launching the 3 Trippy Visions events for our March tour, and show you what I do at probably the half an hour after launch. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully it's been pretty valuable to you if you're a promoter, and see you later.